Hi, I'm Michael Yardney, and currently US demographer Harry Dent's wandering around the country telling anyone who's going to listen to him that Australia's real estate markets are in a bubble, they're going to burst and wipe out half the value of property. And he's suggesting the Melbourne and Sydney markets are going to be the hardest hit. Now, Harry comes to Australia every couple of years, usually when he's got a new book to promote or a seminar to run, and he throws the cat amongst the pigeons by predicting Armageddon. And in the process, he gets lots of publicity for his books, for his seminars. But is he right this time? Are we in for a property market collapse? I'm going to try and answer that for you today. So let's first of all work out what's all the fuss about. See, I've not only read the reports, but I've personally heard Harry predict that our stock market's going to crash after the Chinese property market crashes. You know, in fact, he said it was going to happen in the first quarter of this year, so we've only got a few months to go. And he forecast this would be followed by a crash in our housing markets. He said the real estate bubble is like a popcorn popper with different markets frothing. They're frothing over and peaking at different times, but they'll all burst ultimately. And he says it with such conviction that I'm sure he truly believes it. But unfortunately, the media coverage Mr. Dent has received has caused concerns amongst many ordinary Australians. Lots of my clients and many media outlets have asked my opinion on these claims. And you know, only last night my sister, who knows little about property, asked me, hey, is the value of my house really going to halve? Is it going to drop in half? Because I heard somebody on the ABC say that's going to happen. So maybe we should first work out what is a property bubble. Investopedia defines it as follows. A run-up in housing prices fueled by demand and speculation and a belief that recent history is an infallible forecast of the future. Housing bubbles usually start with an increase in demand because of limited supply, which takes a relatively long period to replenish. Then speculators enter the market, believing that profits can be made through short-term buying and selling. This further drives up demand, and at some point demand decreases or stagnates, slows down, and at the same time there's still increasing supply, resulting in a sharp drop in prices, and the bubble bursts. But for me also, I think that it's got to be accompanied by easy lending criteria and more rapid lending and housing credit, which means many people who can't really afford to take on loans, who can't afford to speculate, overcommit themselves. So the question, I guess, is, are we in a bubble? And my answer is no. Property values aren't about to collapse. Now sure, house prices are high compared to many parts of the world, but rising prices on their own don't cause a bubble. What is needed is for the rises to be fueled by increased borrowings, increased leverage, which eventually makes our banking system fragile and unstable. Now, interestingly, Mr. Dent made similar predictions in 2011, 2012 and 2013, as did The Economist and demographer. On the other hand, the Reserve Bank and the chiefs of our big banks, who have actually proven more accurate at predicting the swings and roundabouts of the Australian economy, believe our property market is fairly valued and not in bubble territory. Okay, here's why I think property values aren't going to collapse. Remember, for a property market to crash, you actually need desperate sellers willing to give away their properties at fire sale prices and no one willing to buy them. To make our markets crash, remember, that's not just a normal cyclical downturn, but a major correction. We need one or more of the following four things. We need a major depression, not a recession. Nobody other than Dent is suggesting this is going to happen. Or we need massive unemployment and people just not being able to keep paying their mortgages. Now again, this is unlikely. It may be caused by exceedingly high interest rates, so homeowners just won't be able to keep up their mortgage payments. Again, this isn't on the horizon. Or it could be caused by excessive oversupply of properties and no one wanting to buy them. Now, other than a few spots in Australia, this isn't occurring. So what is likely to happen to property values over the rest of this year? In my opinion, well-located properties in our major capital cities are likely to keep increasing in value. Now, I've outlined my forecasts in recent blogs, but this is, I guess, the reason why I said it. Despite the complaint of many first-home buyers, home prices just aren't as unaffordable as some people are saying. Both the HIA Commonwealth Bank and the Real Estate Institute Adelaide Bank affordability indexes suggest that housing affordability levels are the best they've been for, 10 years or so. Even the Reserve Bank on a number of occasions stated it's not worried about the level of Australian house prices. In fact, they only did this last week in their State of the Housing Market report. Another reason I'm confident about the property market is our economy is strong. And only as recently as last week, in the Statement of Monetary Policy, the Reserve Bank said we've even got better times ahead. And despite rising unemployment, close to 94% of people who want to have a job have got a job. I'm also confident because the world's large economies have synchronised their recoveries. The world's problems haven't gone away. But many of the fears that plagued us over the last few years have now subsided. And the world's economy this year is beginning on the best footing it has since the global financial crisis. And we can expect it to actually accelerate the economy of the world throughout this year. Now, the reason I'm confident is our banking system is sound. Mortgage arrears are low, and household budgets are in pretty good shape. We've been paying down our debt. We've been paying off our credit cards. I'm also happy because inflation's contained, and that means interest rates are probably going to remain low for most of this year. Low interest rates encourages home buyers and investors to get in the property market, but at the same time allows current homeowners to pay off their mortgages. I'm also confident about a property market this year, particularly so because our population is growing at about 400,000 people a year. This underpins our economy and our housing market. And interestingly, most of these new Australians want to live in our 4 big capital cities, and in many cases in the same suburb as those cities. The other thing is that other than a few specific markets like the Melbourne high-rise market and some new house and land estates, we really don't have an oversupply of property. Just look at Sydney, which has got the lowest number of properties for sale since 2008 at a time of strong and increasing demand. So in conclusion, of course there's not one property market. And as always, some markets are going to perform better than others. But on the whole, a mixture of low interest rates, strong population growth, job stability, affordability, and increasing confidence is going to have more people getting involved in property this year. Oh, one more thing. As long as I've been investing in property, and that's over 40 years now, there have been doomsayers and chicken littles warning that the sky's falling. And the media have lapped up their stories. In the meantime, while smart investors and home buyers were out buying the right type of property, others who were more cautious were sitting on the sidelines. They were waiting to see how things would pan out. Now, while this may seem safe to them, they're likely to miss out on some great opportunities. It's easy to do nothing, but as Donald Trump said, nothing's easy, but who wants nothing? By the way, I'm going to be explaining what I think is going to be happening to our property markets at my upcoming National Property Market and Economic Updates. I'm conducting these one-day trainings in 5 capital cities around Australia in March and April this year. I'd love to see you there.